paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations. All in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted, and I've got a really great guest. I've got to tell you, I am going back to the Midwest, back to Arkansas. I've had a couple of guests from Arkansas recently. It's kind of fun, but I think you're going to really like this one because he has brought the receipts, man. He's got the evidence, and like I said, guys, you're going to love it. Of course, got to tell Race, my producer, who's already in Arkansas, I am wearing the Missouri State Penitentiary shirt because he keeps track of what shirts I wear. And guys, I got to tell you, my guest is just incredible. His name is Adrian Shawn Scalf, and he was the founder or lead investigator of River Valley Paranormal out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, which I've been to Fort Smith. I even got one of my books has a story out of Fort Smith. It's been featured on Ghost Adventurers. Let me show you this. That's our guest as he was in Ghost Adventurers. And there he is with Zach. He has been put into a Booth Brothers movie, as I have. I was in The Haunted Boy, and he was in Soul Catcher. And his stories are in this one called Haunted Fort Smith. So like I said, he is bringing the stuff. He's got a lot of neat things to talk about. Let's bring him on and chat with Adrian.
Good evening.
Buddy, how you doing?
I'm full of love, joy, and happiness because that's how I roll.
That sounds mighty good to me. Even with the weather. Hey, weather's cleared up down there, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's actually nice outside. I walked outside. I still had pants on, but I wasn't wearing shoes, so that was cool.
You couldn't have done that a week and a half ago, could you?
No, I definitely had to have pants on last week.
All right, so Ghost Adventurers and the Booth Brothers and the books. You guys got quite a name for yourself, ain't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been around for a little while. I've been in several books, actually, but that book was actually put out by Bud Steed and got a little more than just my story in it because we did my story. We took some of the pictures of the local locations we took, so that was kind of fun. So I felt more invested in that book than all the others.
That's pretty cool. Now, like I said, I was in one of the Booth Brothers films, as you were. My father was stationed in Fort Chaffee at the beginning of World War II. Gosh, I've been to Fort Smith. I was in one particular house there that was pretty haunted. We seem to be crossing paths every now and again.
Yeah, well, we had like ships that passed in the night because we never actually saw each other.
No,
that one of the things that I've always pushed is trying to have a focus on this area, which is what I liked about the Soul Catcher, because although it wasn't here, it was 3 hours west of here and just on the other side of Oklahoma City. But there's so much activity here. I mean, everybody knows about the Trail of Tears, and It basically ended just west of us. So, and you know, True Grit, and that was from this area. All this, so much, I don't know, drama from this area, from that time frame.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then you talk about Civil War and how Fort Smith, I think, changed leadership, I guess, during the Civil War for a couple of times. So there's a lot of clashes and skirmishes around the area. So we are crazy haunted. And I thought I just loved the opportunity to get out there and talk about it and shine this instead of Massachusetts. Nothing against the East Coast, nothing against those people, but they get a lot of the
yes.
Yeah, notoriety.
Well, Ghost Hunters was the first, and that's their home base, so that makes sense. You haven't even brought up Hanging Judge Parker and Bass Reeves and all the heroes in that area. That I think Hanging Judge Parker hung 5 or 7 men at once one time.
Yeah, they got the gallows and all that. That's just not 10 minutes from my house, just
Right.
going down the street. Actually, it's kind of funny. Our very first investigation, River Valley Paranormal, was on the ground out there, right outside the gallows, and we thought, I had all my toys and everything, and wow, it was a massive failure. It was terrible, but. Yeah, just go to show that it takes experience to get out there and know what you're doing. Anybody can grab an equipment and go out there and do this stuff. And we figured, okay, this place is gonna be crazy haunted, and it was just a mess. I realized that my IR cameras didn't reach far enough. My audio is so cluttered by everything, and we learned a lot from that.
Okay.
What not to do.
And when I went down there, a lady thought we was going to be shooting a film for her there. And I guess whoever runs that park there where Hanging Judge Parker was changed their minds at the last minute.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're very the guy who is in charge of it all, he was very anti-paranormal. And so the deputies out there, or rangers, whatever you want to call them, they're like, oh, yeah, this place is crazy haunted. And then they're like, sure, yeah, we could work something out, and then when you actually get there, they're like, no, you can't do that. And we've had that happen a couple places. We've had an opportunity to investigate places, and actually got in there, and it was after we did our investigation, they're like, oh no, you can't do that. I'm like, too late now. I mean, we had permission, we had the signed form. They're like, yeah, they didn't ask us, and you're not allowed. I'm like, oh, oops.
Yeah, I am. I've got forms. It's not your problem now.
We've never trespassed as a team. We don't. We always follow the rules, and
of course.
But most of the investigation that we've done, and nearly 300 investigations, if not 300 investigations, most of them were homes. I'd say 95% of our investigations were homes. We've got lucky enough to be able to investigate a historical building here, and it's crazy haunted. And although I can't say the location, most people who know the area understand what I'm talking about, or where I'm talking about. But we've been lucky enough to investigate that, and every different month, any kind of weather that you could think of, we've been through it. So we got an opportunity to learn about weather effects on the paranormal, and how it all works. And so it's pretty cool. We was able to apply that in homes. So when we walk into a home and something crazy happens, we're not booed like you see on TV, I guess. And we don't do that, because something happens, we're like, yeah, we've seen that. It's nothing new.
I understand that. Yeah. Tell me about how you got hooked up with the Ghost Adventure folks.
Well, I tell you, we'd been in a team for a few years at this point, and we were members of the Taps family. So I was trying to get, the Taps people, ghost hunters, to come out, Jason and Grant, and one of them, and they had some kind of something going on with Pilgrim Films, and they couldn't get it, and they couldn't get their act together. And the people said, hey, do you know the Ghost Adventures people? I said, not really, but I'll throw a line out their way. And I sent a message to one of their producers, and it was like 2 weeks later they were filming, because everything just clicked.
Right.
And I know some people like them, some people don't like them. I don't care what anybody thinks. I like what they do, as far as what they've done for the paranormal community is opened up a lot of doors for people. And the one thing I'll say about Ghost Adventures over some of the other shows, because I don't know if you remember Ghost Adventures, I haven't watched their show in years, or not Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. They'd always say, we're the first team to investigate this place. They were never the first team to investigate the place. They got a lot of information from teams, and then acted like they were we put this place on the map. But Ghost Adventures always highlighted the teams that had been there. And so, like us, we had our opportunity to be on TV, because instead of saying, we're the first team to get in here, they're like, this. And, they played some of our EVPs and had a little fun. I will say that our the Ghost Adventure show. Oh, I just went off air. Sorry. The feel of the show that we were on was a little different than most Ghost Adventures episodes
Okay.
because they're a little lighthearted,
Mhm.
and I like that because I enjoy what I do. I like have a lot of fun with what I do, but I told Zach, I said, hey man, the entity that you're going to deal with in this facility, Fort Chaffee, these are American soldiers or their families, and you need to treat them with respect.
Right. Right.
And he did. Of course, when he got into the jail, that was a little different. He acted typical Zach Baggins and stuff. But yeah, it was a lot more lighthearted when it was there. It was also the first day of summer in Arkansas, and he was overwhelmed by the oppressive heat.
Oh, he should have been there in August.
No, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad that day. It was like 108, and yeah, and it was up there in the 90% humidity. So they were dying. They would take a break and get into the van, turning on the AC, and before they can go any further.
Okay, friends, Adrian sent me a clip for that time period, and the EVPs on here are yours, right?
Yes. Yes.
So they used them on the show, but it's a clip from the show that you sent me. And let's hit that real quick. Now, this is Fort Chaffee in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's at the what part of the hospital?
The EVPs and that they talk about in this show were actually in obstetrics, which is the OBGYN area, because you had the lab, you had surgery, and then obstetrics. So it's right there by surgery, because just sometimes women have to do their thing in surgery.
This one here's a little bit of a heartbreaker. So guys, get ready for it, and here it comes.
Careful, it is like a fun house in here, so just be careful, guys, okay? OBGYN is obstetrics gynecology?
Yes, obstetrics.
Obstetrics gynecology. Thank you. And that is very relevant because you have captured EVPs in here in female voices?
Yes, very much. And two of them sounded like the exact same person.
But those aren't the only encounters.
Have you been back there, and have you managed to get that one again?
We've got that 3 different times on 2 different investigations. The other EVP says help me, but it's the same voice.
Okay.
But we can't go there now.
Okay.
The whole area had been burned to the ground. There was a fire brigade out of Kentucky who came down, and they wanted to go check out the haunted building, and it's all old wood buildings. And you would think a fire brigade would know better, but they didn't put out a cigarette, and 128 buildings burned down that night.
Oh God, that's a shame.
It is a shame, because we just got permission to do open to the public ghost hunts there.
Yeah.
So we just got permission, and we was making a good plan, because it's like, okay, this is this and this is that, and we'd be able to have a good time and have a lot of people through it.
Yeah.
But no, as luck would have it, it burned to the ground.
That's a heartbreaker there.
That really was terrible.
Now, was that when you talked about the jail? Was that the same jail that was there in World War II? Because my father had been in that one night. So
there were 2 jails. There was one, and both of them were actually on this episode. There was one inside the hospital.
Okay.
And we investigated that several times. And then there was one down the street from the hospital, and that didn't burn down, but it got bulldozed down. But yeah, they investigated, but we investigated both those too.
That's awesome. That is so cool. All right. Well, you sent me a whole bunch, guys. He sent me a whole bunch of EVPs. And
I've done this since 2006.
We're gonna, and I'll tell the folks here, because, and early days when I started this, I always hit unity a lot, but it is okay in ghost hunting to disagree with people.
Oh yeah.
We can all disagree. It does not mean we hate each other. It does not mean one of us are idiots. And especially when it comes to EVPs. And orbs, dust orbs. Oh God, orbs. I think that starts World War II every time. But I'm going to play this.
I got a great story about orbs. We'll go over that later.
Yeah, we got that one too. I want you all to close your eyes when I tell you. Listen to what is said. Do not open your eyes until you hear me speak again. And I want you to think about what you believe and put it in the notes. Put it down here on the comments. What you think this EVP says. So it's only going to take 5 seconds. I'm going to say close your eyes, and then I'll say open them. Listen to the EVP. And the reason I'm doing that is I already put down what I thought it said before he told me what he thought it said. All right, here we go. Close your eyes. Open them. Okay. It's
now I hear what you're saying, but I know what she said.
It's a voice and then a little girl's voice. I'm going to say a little girl's voice because that's what it sounds like. And okay, close your eyes one more time. Tell me and comment. Tell me what you think it said, and then we'll see what Adrian thinks. Close your eyes now. Adrian, what do you think it says?
I still think it says "help me."
Help me. Okay.
Help me.
Is that the same?
It was actually in the same place where those other EVPs were caught.
And the voice is similar.
And we need help. Yeah.
All right. Help me. I hear I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
All right.
Well, I want to know, Dan, have you ate yet?
I eat all the time.
So you're hungry.
I graze all day long. But yeah, I hear a child saying I'm hungry.
That's funny because you say that, and I'm like, I can hear how you're hearing that.
Yeah. And I get when you said, or when I saw the title of it, because what it did, folks, is he said it to me twice, and one said something else. So I recorded that one, and I thought I heard I'm hungry. And then I saw the other one. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. And I still hear I'm hungry. All right, let's play that again.
And you're not wrong. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, you're right. I could be right. I don't know.
Well, we've done things that we've gone back and we've titled the EVPs and gone back a couple years later and said, "Oh no, that's a this, not that." So yeah,
and I've done the same thing. I swore I had a Indian chanting, and it turned out to be one of the other ghost hunters doing something. It took me about 3 years till I figured that one out.
That's so funny.
Okay, here we go. Now keep your eyes open and listen.
Hungry.
Okay, so we're going to disagree on that one. It's his. I will say it's got to be what he says.
I'll be happy. I'll be looking forward to seeing what other people hear now.
Yeah, I hope they get it on the comments and let us know. Usually, I'll get 5 or 6 people on comments, maybe a few more. Sometimes I get up to 15 or 20, and we'll see what they say. Okay, so that was all at Fort Chaffee, which is gone now.
Yeah.
And to me, that is just a tragedy.
It was terrible. It was terrible. A lot of people, a lot of investigators, that was the only place that they could get in. There's the other historic building I was talking about, and then there's Fort Chaffee. And Fort Chaffee started to get some notoriety after we was in there. We started investigating, and the Ghost Adventures got in there, and then other people started wanting to come in.
Right.
And I see people, and I'll do this at some of the public places we've gone to, and we'll see cigarette butts on the floor. Hey, I'm not anti-smoking, but when you're in a place like that, don't do that, because all it took was one careless, and I'm going to say idiot because that's what he was,
Right.
And burn it down and ruined it for however many people. And so it was a great place. And I'm a libertarian, man. I'm all about your freedom. Go do what you want to do. Live the life you want to live. I support that. But respect the property. Respect the thing. It's not your place. It's everybody's place. And now because somebody did that, burned down to the ground, and there's 128 buildings. We investigated that place. You can investigate that place every week for a year and be in a different place. It was wild. But anyhow.
It sounded like it was an amazing place. Well, like I said, we was in a house down there, and I wrote about it in one of my books. I think it was River Shadows it's in, and it had been a brothel.
Yeah.
And this guy was redoing the inside of it to make it into a home, and come across some stuff, and we ended up in there. And Fort, oh, I mean, Fort Smith has just some incredible stuff going on down there.
Oh yeah. Well, if you mentioned Judge Parker,
Yes.
when he lived in the house, when you were down here, it was the Channel 5 building.
Oh, okay.
But before the Channel 5 building, the Carnegie Library. Before the Carnegie Library, it was Judge Parker's home. The tornado that ripped through Fort Smith, that destroyed his home and just led the foundation there, killed a lot of people. So basically, Garrison Avenue, the main historic town where the historic district is, and all that, and all the basically bar row now, but all those businesses were makeshift morgues. So had an opportunity, yeah. So all that stuff in that area that you're talking about was right adjacent to all that area. There's so much activity downtown. It's amazing. So
that's incredible. You got a ghost tour? Have you started a ghost tour down there?
I do go. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm always in the thick of it. More of a let's just do let's get in there and help people. The reason why I started the team was to help people. I started it more as a ministry than a thrill seeking thing, because my house is haunted. You got some EVPs on that, but my house is haunted, and I just didn't want. I couldn't make myself believe that. It actually started years before that. I'd already had a paranormal experience by that point. But when we bought this house, more stuff was going on, and I was like, no, I can't believe that. And until I once again saw it with my own eyes, I started to. I went to talk to my pastor about it, how we do with ghosts, and he's like, there is no such thing. And so I started looking around at paranormal teams around, and there were a lot of more of your metaphysical or your pagan-based teams.
Sure.
And they didn't have my kind of mindset. And I was like, no, see, this ain't going to work. And Tina has always been into the paranormal since she was single digits. And I had a lot of theology because I've been studying for years on this, specifically in the spiritual realm, because what happened to McAllister. So here I'm 3 years later dealing with this stuff here. And I'm like, okay, we saw something. So let's actually try to help people from more of a Christian perspective than from that metaphysical side, and try to wrap my mind around what's going on. So it's a little different perspective. It wasn't about the thrill seeking and go checking things out. We did do some places, but the only big or widely known thing that we've done. I mean, we've done Stone Line Inn. You've got an EVP there.
Yeah.
But we did the Ohio State Penitentiary. But everything else we've done has been home.
Okay. Well, let's try another one here before we have to go to break. And this one here I really thought was pretty amazing. And I have no doubt what's being said on this one. All right.
Turn off yours. I'm going to turn off mine after we get everybody out of the house. Me and Joe do a quick walkthrough after everybody's out of the house.
That was a long drawn out one, because you see that we didn't respond to what was said. That's actually just before the other soundbite that you have of the door opening and closing.
Okay.
Because if I would have heard that, I would have probably responded, because I'm talking to Tina. This is after an investigation. We had turned on all the lights because we had the client in the house with us.
Okay.
And we had been intimidated all the way through this thing. This house, when we turned the lights on, came alive. Most of my presentations are on happy things. We like to talk about the fun of the investigation.
Sure.
This one here was, we were excited while we were doing the investigation, because it's what you think you want to see. But that warning that it said, I'll hurt you bad, came true.
Oh, and how was that?
because it left that house and it attached to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty bad scenario. And I'd say you saw on the Ghost Adventures, my hair was kind of long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, up until that point, my hair was a buzz cut.
Okay.
And so that investigation happened a couple years before the Ghost Adventures, and when I realized that I had an attachment and realized what I was going through, my outward expression of my inward turmoil was, I'm not going to cut my hair until I have one good day.
Okay. Wow.
So
all right. Well,
my hair was about as short as yours.
I doubt that, but okay.
You might be a little shorter, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, in my opinion, you went from the meatloaf look back then to kind of a more Bob Seger style now. So I think you did well. All right. Tell you what, I got to jump off here real quick, do a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. So, Adrian, hang on. Folks, we got a whole bunch more EVPs and videos or sounds to hear. So there's a lot more coming up. You stay tuned. And Adrian, I'll be right back. Arkansas, Fort Chaffee. Wow, I was there, and the town was incredibly historical, and it was incredibly haunted. I mean, I had experiences there in that one house. We only got to do the one house because they stopped us from going into the Hanging Judge Parker's museum. But wow, one gal was running up the stairs. I was upstairs. We could hear the footsteps of something behind her stomping. And till I stepped in between her and whatever was there, and it just stopped and dissipated. I have just Fort Smith is an incredible place. If you get the chance, you need to get down there. And I really wish Adrian would consider doing a ghost tour of that town, because I'll bet he has some really interesting stuff down there. But that's up to him. That's his call completely. And let's see if we can find out what you need to be doing next. Stand by. All right, friends, you saw what we've got there. The UNX Network has so many new shows. I do want to bring one up in particular because it's brand new, and that's See You in the Dark with Michelle Roos. And I got to spend some time with Michelle because we were both speakers at the last XCon. And that is a lady who knows what she's talking about. It's just incredible what she is aware of, what she's does exorcisms, she does regular ghost hunting. It's just really incredible the type of work she does. She's going to have her own show now right here on the UNX Network. Joining up is free. Listening's always free. The XCon, which we have once a year in Springfield, Missouri, I'm going to tell you more about that. I'm sure you've seen the stuff I've talked about before, because when we were there last year, it was stunning what went on. And I'll tell you more about that later. But I am eager to get back with Adrian right now, because we have got some wild stuff to go over. All right, Adrian, you've done a lot of work sending me these things. And by the way, I got to thank you. You send them to me in short clips just of the EVPs. I have gotten stuff from people that was 5 minutes long with an EVP in the middle, 3 minutes in for 12 seconds.
Well, I try to give I try to have everything in presentation ready because, like you brought up XCon. I'm going to be at XCon there in
good.
Springfield. Yeah, and so that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. I'll actually get to meet you.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice. But yeah, so most of these EVPs I sent were what I use in presentations. So.
And I do the same thing when I'm a guest. I've got it all set up in files so I can pick out 6 or 8 and send them. So that's perfect. Are you going to be speaking at XCon or just coming to check it out?
No, I'm speaking. I think on the tentative schedule, I'm kicking off the event on Friday. So,
and I'm speaking on Friday too. That's their paranormal night.
Yeah,
paranormal, UFOs, and then cryptids, I think, is the plan. So, well, good. Listen, we got. Did you hear about the hotel we're going to be in?
That's we're supposed to be investigating that hotel.
We were there last year. Nobody told us. We've got a paranormal conference in this place. Nobody told us it was haunted. And there's the folks up on the stage. There's the audience, space, and then us vendors. I was selling my books there. I spoke again on Friday. And I'm watching this shadow person go right across the room. And I look over at Michelle, who's right next to me. She's looking at it as it goes by.
Yeah.
Over the course of this thing, the audience is coming to us saying, is this building haunted? Well, we finally went to the employees and they said, well, hell yeah, didn't you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing some work there.
That's funny because we were talking about Ghost Adventures earlier. When they filmed here for 2 days, and the first day they did our interviews, like when they're talking to me, it's 108 degrees outside and it's just so oppressive heat they couldn't deal with the heat. So the second day they did the interviews at the museum downtown, right there by the historic district, and they were interviewing Lynn, and a couple of my other investigators. As they were filming that, there was a whole bunch of activity just going off camera to the right. And so the guy who's running the camera is looking, but of course they're talking, so he couldn't pan away from the interview. But we're seeing all this stuff going over there. We're like, look, yeah. It's what happens when you're in a haunted location.
Wow. All right, I want to get to the ones in the house, the little girl in the house.
Okay, that's our house.
It is your home.
Yeah.
Okay. And first one here, little girl in our house 1. So let me play that, and then you can kind of explain, and we'll play it again.
I wouldn't doubt if they are.
Who's that? Let's see.
I'm going to play up the board when I get there. I can tell you that.
Now that you told me.
Oh, well, you hear the conversation going on.
Yeah.
Because they're not. This is my investigator just talking because we weren't investigating.
Mm-hmm.
My Christy, who you heard the little girl say her name, was an investigator of ours, and she had just bought a new recorder. She just put in their batteries, and she just hit record. Now, she knew that this house was haunted, but we just never did an investigation of this house. We didn't need to. We knew it was haunted. So she ran this recorder for 20 minutes. And so you got that one. You hear my brother-in-law talking, and we're getting ready to do this investigation. And you hear the little kid talking in the background. We don't have any little kids in the house. All my kids were young adults at this point, and they were out of the house. So all I had were adult investigators there.
Okay. Well, when I set this up, I could not understand until you told me what she said.
Mm-hmm.
What does she say?
I don't understand what she's saying totally because it's a very little kid voice, but it's like she's saying, who's talking? And then she said, it's Christy.
Yeah.
So she definitely understand that she's saying Christy's name.
And Christy is one of your investigators.
Christy is the investigator who is running the recorder at the time.
Okay.
And I wouldn't doubt if they are.
Well,
Just from
who's
what I heard.
that? Let's see.
I'm gonna play up the board when I get there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm making out Where's Christy or something
Yeah.
Christy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. And it's such a good one because Christy was talking. She was there. All right. I got Little Girl in Our House Quiet. So let me play it and then we'll talk about it. Play it one more time. Hold on.
So he don't want this.
No, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the third one. I don't know if you got the other girl, because you had the two little girl ones, and then you had the man that says shh, be quiet, and then all the EVPs stop at that time, and all you got for the rest of the time that she ran the recorder was just people talking. No
Okay,
EVP.
so that one was what?
Actually, this house is haunted. I've seen him. I started the team because I saw I was actually downstairs. I was working, changing electrical plugs in the utility room downstairs. And as I was down on the floor with my tools, doing the man stuff, I was getting ready to disconnect the electrical wires from the back of the plug. And I noticed that off to my left, there's this man standing in the big room outside the door. Saw him clearly. He was 5'7", slender build, crew cut, tucked in shirt. I mean, this guy was in my house, so I jumped up to my feet and went to address the situation, and he was no longer there. So it's like the only way he could have left was either to come past me, which he didn't, or go through the back door, which he didn't, because it's locked and had slide locks locked from the inside. So I mean, I've seen this guy.
Okay.
So that male voice, I'm positive, is that man that I saw. But I think he was tired of the kid ghost that's in the house, and that's why I told her, shh, be quiet, and they stopped. So it's pretty funny.
All right, one more time then, and we will hear shh, and then what comes after that?
Be quiet.
So he don't want this.
No, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
And it's funny because if you've done an investigation for any length of time, then you know that things can follow you home.
Oh, it's happened, yeah.
And we've had things follow us home, and then this house would go wild, like there's some kind of battle going on in the home.
That's happened, yes.
We don't see anything, but we definitely hear it. Mm-hmm. And activity throughout the house just escalates so high. And but it didn't on this one. And I guess it's because it was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
That's pretty fun.
That actual same thing has happened to us. My wife and I are the only ones in the house, but there was a hell of a fight going on upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And after that, the one that we brought back with us from Ohio, we never saw it again. So that is all. I thought it was just me. I'm glad to hear someone else has had that experience. Okay, so we've got little girl. I got it marked as little girl in the house 3.
Yeah.
There's no. We're talking. No.
Yeah, that happened just before this. Be quiet.
Okay, and what are you hearing? Because I can't make it out the words on this one.
Play it again.
There's no. We're talking. No.
Okay,
Like
who's talking?
Who's talking?
I got that.
As I says no.
So who's talking is what? That's what I heard that time.
Definitely who's talking. But the other one, it said, I don't know if it's no or or what, but it sounds like no to me. It doesn't make any sense, but that's it.
Unless it was the male ghost telling her no, as in don't talk.
It could be.
Yeah.
Because right after that, actually, right after that, you got to be quiet, and you heard nothing else.
All right, one more time, because this one, I finally got it just before I brought you back. Who's talking? All right, hold on.
There's no. We're talking. No.
Boy, no, I think that's the girl saying no.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's all the same thing. That was pretty wild.
Okay.
But like I told you before the show, Christy, we would go and do investigations. We'd hear that same ghost,
Mm-hmm.
So it would definitely attach to her, and nothing against Christy, but we couldn't have her on the team anymore because we couldn't take her on investigations because what do you tell your client? Yeah, we got these EVPs because that we brought, so we couldn't tell sometimes. And although we did get other EVPs and don't know if maybe this ghost that we brought with us helped facilitate other activity in the home, I don't know, but I do know that it compromised our investigation. So
did she ever try just telling the little girl to not come? You're not welcome, whatever.
I don't know if she ever did.
That usually works for us.
Yeah. Once again, you're talking to a kid.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's kind of heartbreaking. And although Christy, I'm sure she sees it differently now, but at the time she's like, man, I just want to investigate. Now I understand because that's fun to do, but
yeah,
when we're actually trying to help clients, it's difficult.
Sure.
So I do have an EVP that I didn't send you. It's at the Basin Park. I wasn't part of this. That's why I didn't send it.
Basin Park in Eureka Springs.
Yeah. We were same little girl, or it sounds like the same little girl anyway.
Okay.
See, I was doing portable x-rays someplace. My wife and Christy, our investigator, and her husband was with Christy from OKPRI in Oklahoma City, and another investigator. And they went up there, and they got actually two great EVPs. When the guys went upstairs, and the girls took the elevator upstairs. So when the girls went in there and they're closing the thing, and if you've ever been there, it's got that kind of old school door that's at the close. And as the only girls in the elevator going in there, they get a EVP of a man saying, "May I help you, ladies?" And but although that's cool, the cooler one happened about 20 minutes later as they're up on the floor, and you have this little girl, and she said, "He's called Charlie."
Wow. So
nobody asked her a question, but she's answering a question. So Charlie is Christy's husband.
Okay.
Or was Christy's husband. And so she's answering somebody that we're not hearing. So do ghosts talk to each other on the other side?
Apparently sometimes.
That is a compelling argument as yes, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, tell me about the one that says Mama. Did we play that one?
Yes. Well, not here, but you played it before the show. But yeah, that's at Stone Line Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma. That was the first, I'd say, big place we investigated, because the only reason why it's big is because it's on Ghost Adventures. Not Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. But Christy, who was on that show, said, "Hey, let's go check out this place," and it was a pretty neat place. The story was it had a couple of different ghosts, but most notably was this young girl ghost, and she liked these monkeys and stuff like that. And we had several audio clips of sounded like a little kid making monkey noises. But the loudest, most easiest one to hear was this one that we're getting play. We're doing an investigation. My wife and I are going up to meet up with another couple members of the team. So you'll hear me announce that second floor and then the EVP.
Okay, and here we go.
Second floor.
That's kind of a tearjerker, isn't it?
She sounds tired, like a little kid just calling out for her mama.
Wants to curl up and go to sleep in mommy's lap for a minute.
Yeah. And it is sad and terrible that I'm showing EVPs to kids. Now I'm feeling terrible.
And it's I don't even understand how little kids' spirits can be there, because that just doesn't seem like it's a fair.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how we. Don't want to get me deep into theology.
Well, yeah, we don't.
That's an hour-long show by itself. So we'll turf that for a moment.
Hey, we'll save that for the winter time. All right, we'll play that one more time.
Second floor.
That one hurts. That really does. And while we're on that, and I've got enough time for a couple more, and I've got two from one says I'm cold.
Yes.
And the other is from the 4th floor of a building we cannot discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's play this one first. It's a 4-second clip, and we'll talk about it. Wow. I mean, that was awesome.
I love it. But the thing about that is we're just doing, we're being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
This location is really well known for the ability to see shadow people. There's a lot of shadow people. They will interact. They'll stand in the hallway. They'll follow groups as they walk through. We've done events here. Great. I mean, I've seen 8 full body apparitions. 5 of them were in this building. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty amazing. But we're just being quiet, trying to looking down the halls, seeing what we can see. And in the middle of all this, I'm cold. And I just thought it was great because you always hear people talk about cold spots, and to me, my sense of humor, I just thought that was great because I'm like, oh yeah, well they are cold. So that's why you get cold spots. So.
He found the cold spot too. So I remember a couple of hot nights out on a bridge, we were fighting for the cold spot.
Fighting for the cold, and going back to Ghost Adventures, that's what Zach said. If you're able to make a cold spot, can you make one now? Yeah. So
all right, let's hit that one again because it's pretty wild.
I love it.
That one just is amazing. That's so cool. All right, one more in the same building. You want to set it up, or you want to play it?
This is the same building, and the we got a lot of EVPs in this place. I mean, we could do just a bunch of shows just on this. Okay. But I love these two, specifically the I'm cold because of the whole cold spot thing, and this one here because you always wonder, what do ghosts think of us crazy people walking around in the dark? What did people think? I mean, they must think we're crazy, and this ghost definitely did.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
He calls us crackpots.
Yeah. All right. Which a lot of living people do too. So I do that, but I'm going to play that again, folks. It's right at the beginning. This is a 4-second clip, and it's really hard to hear. So turn your earphones up or get close to the speaker, and here we go. It does sound like crackpot. Yeah.
It's great. And that's, once again, that's kind of a dated term because that's not something that people say so anymore. But this place is pretty well from the 40s. So I guess there's a heyday of it. But yeah, it's pretty funny because I'm sure, idiots walking around in the dark.
No kidding. All right, Adrian, tell me, you said a little bit ago that you've done at least a couple of public events. You were wanting to do one in Fort Chaffee. You've done one in another place. Which one was that you done?
Well, that location that those 2 EVPs were at is a historic building. And we had an opportunity to raise money.
Gotcha.
We've never raised money for our team specifically. It's always been for like the Humane Society. We've raised money for a human development center that houses special needs adults. And this money went to buy like birthday presents for them, those who didn't have family, and coats for them in the winter. So we've always done things like that. So yeah, we're looking. We're always looking to do that. Like I said, it started this as a ministry, and anytime we have an opportunity to help people, we will do it.
A lot of ghost hunting groups do this, and I know I for a long time back in Missouri was doing one for feral cats. It was called Ferals in Peril, and we were doing ghost tours, and all money was going to that. And one time I got called down to Kansas for a charity event for a no-kill animal shelter. Some friends of mine down there asked if I'd come down and help. So But there's a lot of groups that do that. A lot of ghost hunting groups, especially animals, but a lot of ghost hunting groups help with the charities.
Oh yeah, no, and that's great. I like it. Not only the living charities that are around, but the houses. Some of these places do like shine a light on history that's disappearing. So they take these historic locations and they get an opportunity to tell the story of the location and keep that the building alive, so to speak. So always support your local team that goes out and does things like that. And if they have an event, do that, especially if the money's going to the location.
Yes.
Put a roof on the building, things like that.
Last couple minutes, I want to ask you about AMOK.
Yes.
Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma, right?
No, it's Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Oklahoma and Kansas. Okay. And,
totally different. AMOK. And we could have been camo, but I had to have
Arkansas first, of course. So,
and if you ever watch our show, you'll totally get it, because we're live and nothing ever goes right. So we do run AMOK quite often. But the idea behind that podcast, it's on Tuesdays at 7:00. But the idea behind that is to do what I said, to try to highlight this area, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas, because there's so much in this area, and like the Springfield event, it's great to have stuff like that. But what started me wanting the show specifically is in Caney, Kansas. You have the border town Paracon, and it is great. It's a free event. You just show up and can go and see the place and check out the vendors and the speakers. But I found out about it like just a couple of days before it was going, and I said, no, I can't do that. That's only 3 hours away from me, and I didn't know about it. So it's because there's no, unless it's all word of mouth. So I wanted to do a podcast it's the AMOK mostly paranormal podcast, because it's more so about events and that we can all get together and hang out and see each other, more so than this haunted location, that haunted location. So we'll talk about the Ren fairs, and we'll talk about Comic-Cons and stuff in the area.
Okay. Well, folks, I know I have put stuff whenever I did a show in any of those states, or for any of those states, or a guest from there, I always put them on to Adrian's page there. So you got a lot of good stuff going on your Facebook page and on that, because AMOK has a Facebook page too.
Yes, they do.
All right. Adrian, I appreciate you coming on, and I am really looking forward to hearing what you have to say at the XCon this year.
I'm looking forward to talking.
All right. Well, I will talk to you again soon. You take care of yourself, and thanks for being on today.
Oh, no problem. Good time.
Right. Have a good one, bud. All right. Back home, I did a lot of work in Kansas, and I didn't do anything in Oklahoma, but Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas a little bit, Illinois. Man, I was back home. Iowa. Love the Midwest. I kind of miss it, but the mountains of North Carolina is pretty cool too. All right, friends, real quick, I got to tell you about what you get if you join the UNX network. And I got just a minute here to tell you, of course, if you join up, you get access to the X blog, and you get the digital copy of our magazine sent to your email every week. It's free to join up. You go to unxnetwork.com and go down a little bit on the opening screen. There's a place to put your email address. That's about it. The blog has been blowing up lately. We got cube-shaped UFOs. We've got stories. I've had a couple stories posted on there. We've got cryptids coming around where people are reporting them all over the place. And of course, good ghost stories, UFO stories, the Air Force and the Tic Tacs and all of that all made big news. Comes to you a couple of times a week probably, and then the magazine come once a month. You need to be a member. It's free. It's easy. So I'll stop beating that dead horse. I I do want to also mention the XCon on October 11th, 12th, and 13th, and I am proud to say I now know Adrian will be there with us. So you'll get to see and hear a lot more of what he has done down there. You've gotten a taste of it. To be honest, if I knew he was going to be there, I'd wait till closer. We'll bring him back. I guarantee we'll bring him back just before the XCon and have him show a few more little clips. Well, again, guys, that's about it for me. I am going to back on out of here. So I want you all, my good friends, to remember to stay cool, stay warm, and I guess most important of all, my friends, is stay spooked, okay? All right. Good night.